Just going to share you over here whilst I wait for the people. I always feel like there's pressure to be incredibly entertaining in the first like 10 seconds of a live stream, so that people don't just go, yeah, nah, and scroll on. But hopefully you guys know me well enough by now to know that it takes me a couple of minutes to get into the super flowing deep shit that's going to come out. Oh yeah, I'm going to share it on my personal timeline. I always forget to do that. Apparently it's a good thing to do. So they say. Right. Pop it in my group. Ba 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 da scooby doo. Okay. Settle in, kids. We're going in. I don't have a huge amount of time, but I've always got time for you guys. You know that. I'm just going to pop this in the comments so that you can see my shiz, as you all know, because you follow me religiously, obviously, as you should. The self-belief bootcamp, you've got 4 days left. 4 days left. 4 days left to sign up and get your ass in the bootcamp. Wah, 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 and join all of the badasses making shit happen in the world. So there we go. There's people, we've got movers in next door, because the people next door are moving into their new house, and so they're probably going to hear me singing and talking to myself and think, what the fuck is that woman doing? Probably much like you guys think whenever you watch me. I met a friend yesterday for coffee, and she said to me, oh, I've just realised that I'm so used to seeing you in reverse because of watching your live streams, like, and she was like, you know, it's like television. You just go, oh, next episode of Georgina. And she was like, because the tattoo is, this is my right hand, but obviously when you're watching it, it looks like my left. Smoke and mirrors, people. Smoke and mirrors. Right, so the reason that I came on right now, I've got like a busy day, so I wanted to talk to you guys, but also because I have things to say. And I wanted to share with you what inner work I've just done for myself this morning and how powerful it's been. So when I went on my run this morning, I ran with my boyfriend John and the dog, and normally I run just with the dog or on my own. It's quite rare that John and I run together just because of our schedules and stuff, but when we do, I really enjoy it, and we tend to just have really good chats, and just like it's really chilled out, and there's something really nice about the connection that we have on those runs. And then today I was just feeling like really rushed. I've got quite a few things to do today. I've got some like nice things though, don't get me wrong, but I can very easily fall into the mindset of, even when I've got nice things planned, just seeing things in my diary, I'm like, I've got so much to do today, and then I kind of like get myself in a bit of a fluster about it. So I'm sure you guys can relate to that. Excuse me. And so the things I've got, like, you know, I'm gonna go and get my muff waxed because I'm going on holiday tomorrow. So I want to make sure everything's, you know, attended to, shall we say. That sounds rude. Anyway, maybe that as well. Who knows how this day will go. So, oh God. No filter. Yeah, this is when I need people to remind me that the world can see this. So I'm going to go and get my bits and bobs done, and there's like all the stuff that I normally have done before I go on holiday, just to make sure that I feel good and I'm like in holiday mode. So I've got that stuff planned, and that's cool. Like, that's a nice thing. So tick, yay. And then at 4 o'clock this afternoon, I'm going to be going live with my amazing friend, Dr. Katie Henry. And she's going to be interviewing me about the self-belief bootcamp and stuff. So we're going to be doing that on her page. So that's, if you want to follow her, it's Dr. Katie Henry. I think we'll probably be doing it on her personal page. I don't know. I'll share it later so you can see it. So I'm doing that at 4 p.m. And then, hey Kaylee, morning. And then after that, I've got Muay Thai training, and then I've got a client like late tonight at about 8 o'clock. And then like at some point I've got to make sure that I'm all packed and ready to go. Yeah. So it's like, even though these things are nice things that I'm doing today, seeing all that stuff in my diary had kind of triggered me into this place of like, feeling like I didn't have any space and I didn't have any time, and like, and I just got into my head. So when I was out running with John, I found it really difficult. And I actually said to him, I was like, I'm just not enjoying this. And he was like, oh, what? And I was like, no, I'm just not enjoying, like, I feel like I'm angry. I just need to sort some stuff out in my head. So you just run and I'll be right behind you. But I've just got to go within, basically, and sort my shit out. So my poor boyfriend, like, I say my poor boyfriend, he's fucking lucky. I own my shit. So he ran up ahead and took care of the dog whilst I kind of ran in the background, like, chatting away to myself. And what came up was this frustration in me, like, why aren't things working the way that I want them to? Why am I not where I want to be? Why is this not happening? And I was like giving myself loads of shit about things that aren't this, that actually, when I'm in like a positive mindset, it's all just cool stuff. But in my head I was like, rrr. And it's fine, I honour that part of myself. And so I let her come out to have a chat, and I was like, okay, so what is this actually about? Like, where is this frustration coming from? And it took me down this kind of interesting path. So I wanted to share it with you, because I think as much as I'm all about just like switching from one mindset into another, when I was doing everything I knew to do. I did my journaling, I drank my coffee this morning, which is always my ritual, and that always helps me. I sent a message to my manifestation buddy who I have in the States. So I sent her my message to get my energy, high vibe. I drank water, so I was super hydrated. I was going on my run. I was spending time with my beloved and my little hound. I was doing all the things that I know to do in order to get me to a better mindset, but it wasn't shifting. And I could feel like I could physically like feel the holding on to this like feeling in my brain, and like in my body I could feel like this contraction of like holding on to the anger and the frustration and just feeling shit. And then what I became aware of was it was almost like I felt like I was running into, physically and emotionally, like energetically, running or moving into a period of time where things were just going to be difficult. And I was like, where did that come from? And that's how insidious this stuff is when you start to like really go within. And it felt like, yeah, like almost like I was going to have to like metaphorically like run through brambles and toffee and like wade through it to get to the other side. And I was like, oh, I'm too tired to do that. Like, I just want a breakthrough. I want to not have to fucking do that. I want everything to just keep being easy and just like build momentum and keep growing and, you know, smooth sailing for a while. That would be really nice. And then I just asked myself the question, like, okay, so is it necessary for me to go through this like and it was like, no, it's not. And I was like, okay, well, what do I need to know, or what do I need to learn or figure out before I'm able to get through that? And the thing that came up was, let me see if I can remember, because I've kind of cleared it, so it's kind of tricky to tune back into that energy. But as I was running along, what came up was, oh, that's right, I spoke to the angry part of myself. Now, the most important thing, there are 3 steps really. The most important thing is to acknowledge how they're feeling, that part of yourself, and to like validate and be like, yeah, I get it, I understand, you're absolutely right to feel that way. Absolutely, 100%. You deserve to feel angry. You're right to feel angry. I understand why you feel angry. And then it's just about acknowledging and accepting where they're at. Then it's about giving them unconditional love and saying, well, even though you feel this way and I know that you're struggling, I still love you and I love you unconditionally, and there's nothing you can do or say that would break the fact that I love you. Now, that step was quite hard for me today when I was running along, because I was like, she's just so angry and I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to be so attached to this feeling of like anger and frustration. So I actually felt this resistance to fully owning the fact that like loving her unconditionally. And so I acknowledged that, and I was like, well, why is it that I feel that's so difficult for me right now? And it was because if I did love her unconditionally, then it would have diffused it, right? But she felt that she needed to be angry in order to be important, in order to be heard. And I was like, well, that's a lot of energy to have to use just so that people can hear you. And also, it might discredit what you're saying if you say it with that particular energy. I mean, sometimes that's necessary, but in this particular instance, it just felt like it was holding me back rather than propelling me forward. And so once I understood that, I was able to love her unconditionally and to kind of dissolve some of it. But then I said to her, like, why is it that you feel you need to be so angry in order to be important or to be heard or, you know, validated or whatever? And she took me to memories of my dad. Now, my dad is a beautiful, lovely, I love my dad so much. I love my whole family. You know, they're all lovely, just beautiful people. Obviously, there are dynamics because it's family relationships, and that's just what families are like, right? So when I was a little kid, there was a lot more stress because, you know, there was money stress, there was, like, I don't know, stress, the fact that I was, like, I came along 13 years after my nearest sibling, so obviously my parents were a bit older then, so, you know, there was that kind of stress. And I decided, obviously on some level, that I needed to be angry and shouty because at one point my dad had done that, right? So I just really want to make this super, super clear for you that this is not like, this is like one memory in time that I have from being a child where my dad shouted. Like, that's it. I have this one memory, so I don't want you to think that it was like, oh my God, he was always shouting. Like, that's not it. It was just, there's one memory that I have of having breakfast and my dad shouting about something. And to be quite honest, when I look back, I'm like, yeah, he probably was well within his rights to do that. But anyway, sometimes people shout, and that's okay. But in my mind, like, I remember that memory and thinking, and I've obviously imprinted it on some level, like, oh, so if I want to be heard, I have to shout, I have to be angry about something. And it's like, actually, no, that's not the case. Like, I don't need that. And so what I did was, I decided to go and have a chat with, like, Matrix style. This is all while I'm running, by the way. So this is all happening whilst I'm running along in the fucking blazing sunshine. This is what my brain is like. It's what it takes, people. This is the real work. This is what I'm talking about. Doing this and taking the time to actually dedicate yourself to understanding your patterns and rewiring them. Because if you don't do that, then you're basically just going to keep repeating the same shit over and over again. So anyway, in this memory, I went back and I went and had a chat with my dad, and it was just like, well, you know, why were you angry that day? Like, what had happened? And just learning to understand more about his situation and have even deeper empathy than I already do have for him. Because as I say, like, we have a great relationship. I love him. And I always have, like, always had a lot of love for my father, like, just always. Even as a tiny little kid, I always remember just being, you know, just really like a bit of a daddy's girl, really. And so knowing that, like, having this new layer of understanding from doing this matrix session this morning, it's like, it's allowed me to understand him even more, but also to understand myself even more deeply, and therefore allowed me to diffuse that pattern that I was holding on to that was holding me back. And what it came down to was that actually I felt I was holding on to some level of guilt because he never got to do all the stuff that he wanted to do in his life. Now, I don't even know if that is, like, a fact, if he would even say that, but in the matrix session that I did, that's my perception of his situation, right? And that's all that matters. His perception of the situation doesn't even matter to my brain. And this is the thing, it's like, people often say to me, oh, so do I now that I've resolved that, do I now need to go and talk to that member of my family or that person that I've just done the session with? And it's like, no, because my dad's memory of that day and of that moment and of everything will be completely different to mine. And I don't even, it's of no consequence, actually. It's really about my perception of what my subconscious and my mind took on that day or in that moment, and what I've made sense of, how I've made sense of it in the years afterwards. So for me today, I allowed myself to release the guilt of succeeding in the way that I know I will and that I am, and releasing the guilt that, like, holding myself back because he didn't, or that I perceived that he hadn't. Does that make sense? And that's really interesting to me, because I think I always just assume it's going to be because of my mum, like, trying to keep her safe, because I know that she worries so much about us and things like that. So I've always kind of just assumed that when I hold myself back, if it's got anything to do with anyone, it's probably because on some level I'm trying to subconsciously, like, protect my mum from me growing and moving or whatever. But today it was so interesting that it was actually trying to protect my dad and trying to like not feel guilty. And the thing is, my dad would never ever, even if my dad did feel that way, like he hadn't achieved what he wanted to, even if that was a reality for him, there is no way that he would try and hold me back. Like, he just wouldn't ever. He would support me. And so I think knowing that now that I've been carrying this kind of this guilt around with me is just going to be so deeply healing, to know that I've been able to go in and do that work around this particular situation. And this is what I mean when I say to people, like, are you really doing the work? Are you really doing the inner work that you need to be doing? Are you doing the energy work and the mindset shifting? This is not the reason that the Self-Belief Bootcamp is a more high-touch program. By high-touch, I mean, you know, you actually get like all of me, as much of me as you desire, as you need to get you to where you want to be in the 6 weeks, is because doing this shit on your own is fucking hard. And it's really easy to just give up. Like today, it would have been so easy when I was on my run to just go, no, I'm not going to do it. I can't be bothered. I'm just going to go home. No, I'm just going to be feeling like shit for the rest of the day. But I didn't desire that. I didn't want my day to end up that way. I've got things to do today, and that for me is just not going to work ever as a way of showing up in the world. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to go home and I'm going to live stream from this place of like anger and frustration, and I'll work it out on the live stream, and that will help me shift my energy. But it was like, no, actually, you need to do it now. You need to do it while you're running. You need to set aside the brain space to make the connections now. So if you're not allowing yourself the time and the focus to actually do that deeper inner work when you need to, it's all well and good being able to just shift like that, but when you can't shift like that, it's because there's something else. There's a reason that you're protecting yourself from moving forward, because you know that if you could just continually shift into a higher energy state, you would, right? Of course you would. So any of the times where you feel that resistance, or like what you might call self-sabotage or resistance or whatever, anytime you feel that, is because you're actually protecting yourself. So there's something at play, there's a pattern, there's a belief, there's something in your brain, in your subconscious, in the cells of your body, that's holding you back from really creating the change that you want. Because I think you know that you are actually a powerful creator, and you know that when you are in that high vibe state, amazing stuff happens. And so there's this question often like, well, why would I choose out of that? What, surely if it was within my power, within my control to truly manifest all the stuff that I want, to truly live the life that I want, surely I would be doing that right now, like in this moment. So why aren't I? Well, that's the question, isn't it? If you're not living it now, why aren't you? And unless you take the time and dedicate yourself to actually figuring that shit out, then you're just going to keep chasing your fucking tail. So that's a big part of what the Self-Belief Bootcamp is going to be about, because you get so much of my one-to-one energy. That's right, you and me, baby. You don't just get the trainings in the group and the journal prompts and the support in the group. You get me, unlimited access to me, through voice messaging, through one-to-one calls, which are like 30 minutes each, and trust me, that is more than enough. You got this energy up in your face, oh yeah. But if you feel like you're ready, and when I say ready, what I mean is you're frustrated, you feel stuck, you know you need something big, you know you need to do something big, something you need to make a statement and commit to yourself and to your business and to your life. You need to go all in. You need to go all the way in all areas of your life, and you just need some support, because, well, quite frankly, who the fuck doesn't, right? Who doesn't need some support? Who doesn't need someone that they can like sound off at, or rant at, or cry at, or just ask for some emotional support sometimes? No one. Everybody needs that. And if you're not getting the support that you need, you may very well find yourself just chasing your tail. This is not saying that you need to have a coach, or that you need to do this program, you need a mentor. This is saying that if you feel unsupported, and you know that that level of support could be the thing that really helps you to just propel yourself through the bullshit that you're going through right now, then why would you say no? Why would you not jump in and say, hell fucking yes, right? So stop looking for reasons to talk yourself out of it. Get yourself into my private inbox. I always love that sounds slightly smutty. Send me a private message. Just jump in. Let's have a chat. let's have a chat, at least by saying that you're interested in the program. And if the only question that you have for me is how much does this program cost, then you need to start thinking about why that's such an important factor, and also what is it that you're really willing to invest to get the change that you know that this course is going to give you. That's what I want you to ask yourself. Of course, you can ask me about the costing. I'm going to give you the costing when we talk, right? But it's actually about knowing on a soul level, in your gut, in your core, that this is the program for you, that you desire the results that you know you're going to get from working with me in this way, right? If you know that you want those results and you know that I'm the person and this is the program that's going to help you, if you feel even slightly called or pulled to doing this, that's because it's a hell yes. The only thing that's going to make it hell no is this. And that's what I'm here to help you with. So anyway, drop me a message. It's been ace talking to you. I hope you have an amazing day. Let me know if you caught the replay. And yeah, in true Nolly style, I love you. Bye.